In this lesson, I would like to walk you through the most important HPanel settings. I understand that from the first glance it might look a little bit confusing because there's like a lot of settings available, but I will show you the most important ones and which you might use in the future. So let's start with the WordPress section. Let's go to the dashboard. And right here, probably one of the most important settings is force HTTPS. If it's inactive, you should activate it because this way we will force our website to load with secure connection with HTTPS. The next setting, flush cache, basically this setting controls the plugin, which was already pre-installed to our WordPress, which controls cache settings. Basically this plugin helps our website to load faster, and you can access all these settings in the WordPress panel. Later on I will show you how it's done, and from here we can move on to plugin section. Also, you will be able to access all plugins in your WordPress panel, but it's very convenient to have this option right here because let's say in the future when you install a plugin, or let's say you update plugins, suddenly your website doesn't load, it starts to crash and you're getting error messages. So probably that means that this issue was caused by a plugin which doesn't work with your WordPress version, or there could be other reasons, but by going right here in the plugin section you can easily deactivate that plugin and you can fix this issue. So let's go back to dashboard. In order section, probably one of the most important settings would be upgrade. So let's click on it. So let's say once you start getting more and more traffic to your website, or you have installed so many plugins that your website doesn't have enough resources to work properly, from here you can easily upgrade your hosting. You can choose a shared hosting plan, or you can use cloud hosting plan. Of course, if you want, you can choose VPS, but it's way more complicated than shared hosting plan or cloud hosting plans. So from here, once you click on view plans, you will be able to choose a more powerful plan. So this way you will solve the problem of a slow loading website, but when you are starting out, you shouldn't face any issues. So let's go back to dashboard. And account section, you can check your details, you can change your password. We can move on to email section. So later on in another lesson, I'll show you how to create your business email. So right now we can skip this section. In domain section, by clicking this option, you can add more websites to this hosting plan. So let's click right here. And as you can see, by adding your domain name and selecting password, you can add as many websites as you wish. Basically, when we were purchasing our hosting plan, it said unlimited, we can host unlimited number of websites. So basically from here you can add as many websites as you want. So for example, added one website for demonstration. So once you added a website, you can switch between websites by going right here and choosing the domain name which you have added. So as you can see, I have WordPress course and I have this website Goku Planet. So let's go back to dashboard. For example, once you switch from one domain to other, let's say I'm going to switch from WordPress course, which is being displayed right here. Let's say I'm going to choose Goku Planet. So as you can see, once I switch to other domain, I'm doing changes to this domain. So it's being displayed right here. And if I would decide to install WordPress, I would be doing changes only to this domain. So let's go back to our WordPress course and let's see other settings. So now you are familiar with domains, and with the website section, basically we can use it to install content management system like WordPress. So once you go to auto installer, you will see available content management systems which you can install to your website. So as you can see right here, WordPress course has a WordPress, and here are some other content management systems, but since this course is all about WordPress, I will be talking about WordPress. But for example, once you add a website, once you add another website to your hosting, you can switch this website right here, as I mentioned you before, by clicking to another domain. And by using auto installer, we can easily install WordPress to this domain. So we would have to click on the WordPress, and from here we will be able to install WordPress to our website. But since we have already installed WordPress to WordPress course, we can switch back to WordPress course and we can go back to the dashboard. So let's scroll down. So you are already familiar with this section. So as I said, probably one of the most important settings which you might use is auto installer, and we can go to files section. So basically you can use this section to access all your files. You can access plugins, themes, media files, or even WordPress files itself. You can do this in two ways: by creating FTP account. So you would have to use such program as FileZilla to access your files using FTP account, or you can do the same by clicking right here. Once you click right here, you would have to go to public HTML And right here you can see all of your files. So basically these are all files which create your website. So here you will find plugins, themes, WordPress files itself. So basically you can download plugins, you can upload, you can delete them, or you can basically delete all of your files. And yeah, this is how you can access your files. So we can go back to the dashboard. As well, in file section you can do backups of all your files, and from here we can move on to databases. So basically your website is created out of two sections. The first section is going to be all your files, and your website has a database where like all information, all settings are being kept. You can access such information as users data, posts, comments, and all other information which is basically a data of your website. So by clicking on database you will be able to see your database, which is being displayed right here. By clicking here you can do a backup of your database, and let's go back to dashboard and let's scroll down, and you can access your database by clicking on phpMyAdmin, and you would have to click enter my phpAdmin, and basically from here you will be able to access your data. So I usually never use this option. I have used it in the past to export all data when I was moving to other hostings. So to do this you would have to download all your files and you would have to export your database. So you could move your website to other hosting, but when you are a beginner probably you will not use this option very soon, but it's good to know where everything is. So let's go back to the dashboard. And now you are a little bit familiar with files and databases. So basically files are all files of your website. It can be plugins, themes, media files, or even WordPress files. And all data is being stored in your database, which can be accessed right here by clicking this section. And you can export it or you can import it. It's completely up to you. So we can move on to advanced section. And as you probably remember, we used SSL section to install our SSL certificate. And probably one of the more important settings is PHP configuration. So by clicking right here, you will be able to change your PHP version. So if it's not set to the latest one, I highly recommend you to choose the latest PHP version, because it's a good practice to keep everything up to date and it will make your website load a little bit faster. So since you are familiar with this information, we can go back to dashboard and let's scroll down and let's see what other settings might be important. And most likely in the section which is named other, you will not be using any of these settings, so I guess there's no point of talking about it. So yeah, these are the most important settings which you might use in the future, and I understand that from the first glance it might look a little bit confusing because there's like a lot of settings, but most likely you are going to use these settings which I already explained to you. So yeah, these are the most important HPanel settings.